The connection, my connection, internet connection is bad right now, so bear with me. And we'll start the show soon.
Falling down and broken, collapsing, it seems lost. Pressing on, it's not over. Now it depends on you. Every day and every night. Should you go or should you fight? It's okay, just take my hand through it all. You will stay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range. And I hope we get through this show in one piece because I was having a few connection problems. But anyway, everything's good to go right now, and I am delighted to have with me today Brad Morehouse, who is the founder and creator of the one and only Hemppaste. And I also have Sheila, one of his co-workers, and I'd like to bring them on right now. Hi,
Hey,
Brad.
how you doing?
I'm doing great. Now, there we go. All three of us are there. Hi, everybody. Welcome, everyone. And we're going to talk about hemp paste and how it's different. And Brad, I think it's important for people to know that you actually worked as a traditional farmer, as I understand it, and regrew and redid this crop until it was in an acceptable range for the THC. Is that true? Or
Yeah, it's kind of all over the board. I'm one of the pioneers, one of the very first people in the CBD oil industry. Actually, I wasn't in the oil. We started out right off the bat in the paste. So, but yes, Colorado is our stomping ground, and but we're here in Hawaii right now. And Sheila is our number one. Yeah, look at that smile. I like that.
she goes, oh, you put me on the spot there, Brad.
Oh, making me blush already.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's good.
That's great.
Anyway, go on.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, that's it. That's my story. See ya. No,
and I'm sticking to it. Okay, Brad. I'll let you off the hook for a little while now. Okay.
I didn't take any hemp paste, so I can't blame it on that.
Oh. Yeah, maybe you should have, because then that makes the neurogenesis work better, eh?
I took some hemp chocolate before we got on. So where you at, Brad? Come on.
I still in my system. I just didn't have a chance to grab some a little while ago. But go ahead, Sheila.
Oh, my name is Sheila. I'm the director of distributors, among many other things, with Hemppaste, and we just kind of work together as a team to bring healing to people, health and wellness.
Yes, and that's so important. And I think one of the biggest things that we want to point out in this presentation, and we can, go back and forth between Brad and you about one of the things that you discovered in all your research, Brad, was that the CBD oil is seriously lacking in terms of many of the things which are lost from the processing or the extraction methods, and whereas your product doesn't have any extraction methods involved, correct?
Uh-oh, is he frozen?
He looks frozen. Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay. Just a small commercial right there. Anyway, anyways, so you were saying that I kind of lost you because it froze. Could you?
Okay. I was talking about the difference between the oil and the whole plant, and you guys don't use any type of extraction method, which causes the loss of many phytonutrients. Maybe you could explain that a little bit.
Yes, this is my ultimate favorite subject when it comes to hemp paste or the whole hemp industry. And what happens in short is there's this process that everybody does. Now, when I say everybody, I mean everybody does it. It's the norm. What we do, what the industry does is they extract the plant and we don't. So that's the big difference. What we do is we use the whole plant except for the stems. And so basically there's a lot of information behind this, but that's the general point.
That's a very important point, though, as well, because of the losses involved. Um, do
Right.
you do you want to elaborate on that anymore, Sheila?
Well,
Uh,
Brad's the one that has this down pat. He's so passionate about the extraction method. Brad, can you tell us about what all is lost, the environmental impact that the normal
yeah,
extraction
the
methods have?
genetic
Yeah,
code of the plant, that type of stuff.
exactly. I'd love to talk about it. Um, Generally, when I do interviews and stuff, I have this. I just go off on this big rant about all this information. And so, what I'm trying to do today is kind of like throttle back and be a good boy. So, I get so excited about this. But in short, that's the magic word right there. Um, it really is. Well, what happens is I believe that everybody had great intentions in the beginning. In the beginning days, people thought, huh, Rick Simpson. I've heard of that guy. Who's Rick Simpson? He's the RSO guy, and he's the guy that kind of started the oil. Of course, back in the 1800s or before then, there was oil. What, but I'm not going to get into all the science back then. But Rick Simpson oil is basically he would take marijuana. We don't do marijuana. It's we do cannabis. So cannabis is hemp or marijuana. So we're going to talk today about the hemp side. But the whole industry still followed the marijuana side. What they did was is they extracted it by using Everclear or alcohol, and they put it in a pan, and they would soak the bud and squeeze it out by hand or with a press. And what it would do is it would squeeze all the bud out after they soaked it for an hour. And then this alcohol in the pan, they would put that on a burner and evaporate it out. And people who are listening, I'm sure you're going to remember these stories in the news where you would see houses blowing up and all kinds of crazy house fires. And what happened was is it's extremely flammable. But so people started thinking, okay, that's the problem. Actually, that wasn't the real problem. The real problem was why are we extracting it in the first place? But everybody started thinking, oh my gosh, this is so dangerous. This is such great stuff. It's helping thousands of people and everybody's going crazy over this. And so what happened was that during that time, coincidentally, my wife and we were in the middle of that arena too. And that I won't get into. That's a long emotional story, and it's a fun story, but we'll
It's
do
a
that.
good story.
Yeah,
Tell us. Go ahead, Brad. Tell us.
I will. Well, if we have time, I'll get into that cute little fun emotional part. So this whole problem was extraction, and Vienna and we were sitting at a table one day, and my dad just got off the phone, and this is where I got to be careful not to get emotional because talking about my dad. So my dad, just got off the phone, and my dad he was struggling with Alzheimer's, and we heard how great RSO is good for Alzheimer's and dementia and all that stuff. And so my wife and I were like going, you know, I got to be careful not to go too far back because it's a long story. Um, in short, what we did was we said, hey, why are people doing this? There had to be some kind of way that they did it thousands of years ago. And in fact, Sheila and I wrote an article about that, about 400 BC, or is it 600 BC, Sheila?
I think it's
Um, 400 BC.
Yeah.
They found archaeology. I can speak English. Give me that word, will you?
Archaeology, is that the word you're looking for?
That's it. You almost
Okay.
You said it right the first time,
Yeah,
boy.
you
it
did.
just sounded funny, you know. And so there was this archaeology or find in where was it? Israel?
I don't remember at the top of my head.
It is Israel, and they found in this shrine that was they just discovered all this hemp that was dried. It was cannabis, and so my wife and I were thinking. Even we didn't even know about this story, of course, but we were thinking, you know, they had to use it back then. And of course, there's facts that it's true. They did, and we thought, Rick Simpson is blowing up houses or teaching people to blow up houses. He's an awesome guy. Whoever's listening, I love the guy. Everything's great about him, great intentions, but just the method's just not safe. And so Vienna and I were thinking, how can we do this that's safe? And we thought, what did they do back in the Bible time or back in China or just thousands of years ago? And we thought, well, let's do some research. We did do that, and we came to our own conclusion. And that conclusion is our creation of Hemppaste. And what that is simply taking the bud, grinding it up, putting it into a mason jar, putting some olive oil. Back then, we have a more advanced systems now. But what we did is we jarred it and boiled it, opened it up. It was canned Grandma's jam. It was just like Grandma's jam. We canned it. And the first jar that went out was to a lady that we just gave it to her just to help her. We didn't have any plans to build a business, to build a ministry, to build a nonprofit, any of that stuff. But what happened was this lady, it helped her so much that she told everybody. And this is back in the dark ages. I call it the dark ages. Back in 2010, 2011, this is where you can't do this because back then there wasn't CBD. There was called sour tsunami. It was half CBD, half THC, and we were pushing as hard as we could to answer your original question, Gail, to create those genetics, the farming. And what we did was we were able to crossbreed with the Charlotte's Web guys, Kelly Roller, all those different guys we just happened to land into each other's lap. And I'm the guy that they never really heard about. The reason why is because I was breaking the law so much. And people that are listening, I wasn't breaking the law to break the law. I was breaking the law because I was helping people. Because back then it wasn't quite legal yet. The Colorado
how dare you heal anybody
exactly.
or make them happy. Either
Exactly.
way.
Yeah, and so thank you. Good point. And so all this story just came together where we had this product and this lady in Texas, she told everybody. And we're like, oh my gosh. And my joke was with my wife is people say, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm a drug dealer.
I still joke with that one.
I know. It's like I'm a drug dealer, and not to get religious on you. My wife and we're into music a lot, and we help out at different things. And one of them was this church, and there was church people over there, and they were like going, you know. Sorry, let me back up. They just said the same question. What do you do for a living? I said, well, I'm a praise and worship leader and a drug dealer. And that was even worse sounding.
Yeah.
So, but basically all
I couldn't take a joke, right?
yeah, oh, they were awesome. And yeah, guess what? I can say this now. I can't believe I just forgot his name. Senator, there's a senator in Colorado. I can't believe it. His daughter, what's wrong with my brain? Too many names, too far back. Anyways,
names aren't important.
Yeah, they basically were like, the daughter was the keyboard player. She goes, it really shouldn't be, selling marijuana and being a praise and worship leader, should you? And so what's so cool about that story, don't think bad anybody. She's Ashley is her name. Ashley's so cool. Anyways, she ended up being one of our greatest customers, and so did her family. And so everybody, police officers, pastors, gay, straight, you name it, any kind of person in every kind of walk of life was just calling us and saying, I want some of that. And so we moved right along into the whole mainstream CBD oil industry. And what happened was, again, we're the only company in the world, the creator of Hemppaste, where we do not extract the CBD out of the plant. What we do is we take the whole plant and can it like grandma's jam.
And can it with the lid on, so nothing evaporates until that seal is broken by the customer. Nothing evaporates from it. So
yes.
And the beauty of that is an important word is the entourage effect, which is something that happens with all food, really, because the food industry as well as the pharmaceutical industry, they all want to extract something out so that they can claim it as their own, tweak it chemically in some other way, and then patent it. And because it's always about the money, unfortunately.
Brad has a really good story about this. The researchers with the blueberry. Brad, can you tell us the blueberry story?
You know it.
I like when you say it. You say it better.
I love Sheila when she talks. She's so articulate. Anyways, you can pay me later, Sheila.
Okay.
Anyway, so Gail, excellent point. Excellent. So one of our customers, about 3 years ago, her husband, which I'm not allowed to say any names because her husband will get in trouble from the pharmaceutical company that he works for. But anyways, she told me that her husband's company has been spent millions of dollars trying to reformulate in a pharmaceutical grade blueberries because it massively, you probably know this, a lot of people listening probably heard this, that it massively helps with Alzheimer's and dementia. So what happened was she told me on the phone, she goes, you know what, Brad? She goes, her husband and the whole corporation, the pharmaceutical company, has spent so much energy trying to take all these compounds. And what it comes down to is that it doesn't work unless you eat the blueberry. The blueberry
you have all of the compounds of the blueberry. Taking one thing out of it completely ruins the effect it had on Alzheimer's.
Yes. And then a segue into hemp paste related to that, will you?
Yeah, so it's the same thing with the CBD oil industry, and that's why it's so important for everyone to know what exactly it can be, what it can be used for, and then also why it's so important that it's the whole plant and not a CBD oil extract, isolate, nano CBD, any of that kind of stuff. Even if it says full spectrum, it needs to be the whole plant. Because it works the same way as the blueberry story, where you take anything away from it and it immediately stops working with the entourage effect that Gail was talking about. So the efficacy plummets down. And a lot of people who have tried CBD oil in the past with no results, they get frustrated and then they think it's just snake oil and people are just, it's a hype thing. People are just thinking that it's working because their friend said it's supposed to work. And go ahead.
Oh, we always have the placebo effect initially.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for,
and after a while, that's not going to hold up. So that's when the true results start to manifest.
Right. Well, and even in the beginning, your hopes are up that it's going to help, and you have this one ailment, like say inflammation, for example. CBD oil is supposed to knock inflammation down immediately, and inflammation causes pain in all sorts of ways: migraines, arthritis, back pain, knee pain, all of these things that affect your daily life. And so people turn to holistic alternatives and think that any CBD oil they get from a gas station or whatever is going to help it. And it doesn't, because it's not a high grade, first of all, and it's an extract of a plant that was meant to be a whole medicine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've seen that we've seen that in the nutrition industry before, because we went from, isolated compounds of vitamins and minerals to food complex supplements. And again, it's based on the same principle. So it was very easy for me to relate to that.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I haven't really thought about it in a whole, like the whole nutrition standpoint, that it's affected across the board when it comes to your health. The pharmaceutical industry is trying to take all good things and extract them to make them in pill
To make
form.
money. Yeah,
Yeah,
to make money.
Yeah.
Not for your health. It has nothing to do with your health.
No.
Yeah, let me give you some simple numbers,
Okay.
the factual stuff. So we all know what does isolate mean? It means single, one compound. So one compound is an isolate. So there's CBD isolate. So if there's just one compound, that one compound cannot react to anything else because there's nothing else. So what happens is when there's nothing else, there's no entourage, no synergistic results. So when you take the hemp flower and you start extracting it, and the harsher the environment, remember, here's an interesting thing. When you extract, the harsher the chemicals, the harsher the machines work, the more it pulls out CBD, which you make more money. The more you pull out, the more money you make. The more you pull out, the more damage you do. Okay, so it's a catch-22. Whereas the whole plant, you don't have to spend all the money on the machines, all the chemicals. It's ludicrous. It's like a rabbit hole. It's like $1 billion blunder of the century.
And for what? For what? To have it be an easily digestible fluid that can be flavored and added more chemicals to it after production, so it's almost a marketing ploy with the CBD oil industry, making it look, put it in its best light for the consumer. So you can have a grape flavored CBD oil. You can have, all these different flavors to try to get the consumers to buy more of it and to buy a different variety of it. And you have all these potency levels and all this stuff. And it's just not necessary. And it really is, trace it all back to the money.
I love it.
There's always a money trail, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you need to make money to stay in business, and I get that. But at the heart of Hemppaste, like Brad is the owner, Vienna is the president, and you can tell by any conversation you have with them that they are not after making billions of dollars. They truly are after helping people.
And they are not a pharmaceutical company. They are a family-owned business.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of businesses that we need to be supporting. And they're also located in the United States. So you need to think about that. I'd like you to also address GW Pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
And
so
what they...
specifically as what they do, or the comparison of us to them?
Both.
Okay, well, let me make a statement that actually funny segues right into that. So here's the deal. What unfortunately, everyone who is into extraction of the plant was kind of like in the mental frame of thinking like a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
Because what they were doing is they said, well, here's the flower, just eat it. They can't like package that. They can't like market that. And so what they did was they were thinking like a pharmaceutical company. Hey, let's see what kind of process we can do. Hey, let's call it full spectrum. Let's call it, isolate. So they started thinking like a pharmaceutical company. And that's where it was the money that drove that direction, unfortunately. And thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Sheila, for saying we're about helping people. And that's, if you think about it, the plant, Mother Nature or God, choose which one that's up to you. But Mother Nature and God wasn't stupid. The plant is perfect. In fact, neuroscientists, which is going to relate to the GW Pharmaceuticals, neuroscientists all over in seminars, conferences, the Hemp all say the plant is perfect in its natural state. So there's nothing in it that needs to be extracted. So why are we extracting the plant? For what? To be like the pharmaceutical industry. So GW Pharmaceuticals, for example, I'm going to try to tie that into it because I did say I was going to, but basically they are what they do, I'll explain. This is, a lot of people know this, but a lot of people don't. So if I take an enzyme from a lizard and I take an enzyme from an apple and I take a couple compounds and I put them together, and then I can patent that, and that is called a formula. And it has if it works and it gets rid of wrinkles or gets rid of Alzheimer's or whatever it might be, wonderful. And thank you, pharmaceutical companies, for the good stuff that you've done. But there's a whole lot of stuff that you're doing that isn't good. And I'm not here to preach about it, but I'm going to make an example of why. And what happens, so if you take all these compounds and you pull one out, it will either make you sick, not work, or kill you. Okay, that's what happens. So if you take a pharmaceutical drug and if you take salt, chlorine and sodium, and if you separate those, they're deadly. But if you put them together, we need them. So it's like this. It's like the pharmaceutical company has a cascade effect. So you have to take one drug to cover the effects of the other.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have seen people on 20 different drugs, and I just shake my head.
Yeah.
It's so scary. So put that right here. Think about that. Don't forget about that point. And so the reason I'm pointing over here is because my monitor's over here and my camera's over here. So if I look confused, I'm confused. Anyways, and so when you take hemp and all the around 500 compounds, and you start pulling things out of it, fortunately, it's not harmful that we know of. And I personally don't think it's harmful. But there is some people that are saying, well, CBD oil is a little hard on your kidney and liver. So people listening, they're saying that. Well, first of all, you're not supposed to extract it. That's not the way God or Mother Nature created it. So to summarize the point, you do not want to mess with what God or Mother Nature did, because it's perfect.
Right.
That's perfect.
It is. That is something that I've seen in the nutritional industry as well. Like I said, I get it, because they try to do the same thing, and any kind of food that they have found to be in a really excellent source of antioxidants or whatever, they immediately want to extract it and put it in. But the thing about plants, and this is true of your plant as well, is that all those compounds, they work synergistically. And when one is missing, that's what can throw the whole thing off balance in such a way that it can become harmful.
Right.
Because there's protections in our plants that protect them from the environment and so on and so forth. And it's just things that aren't taken into consideration. So
I'd actually like to mention something in that same line of thought, Gail.
Good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. That's about all I had to say anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, on that same line of thinking, I just had a conversation with a potential customer 30 minutes ago, asking about if our product had THC in it. And that's one of the things that we don't talk about a lot when we talk about the whole plant, and we compare it to the oils and the extractions and all that kind of stuff, the isolates. It's just, even before I worked for the company, I thought THC, that's the bad stuff, and I don't want to get high. I don't want to fail a drug test. I don't want to do all those types of things. So I don't want to take a product that has a psychoactive ingredient. And one thing that we fail to realize is that, exactly like you said, Gail, that synergistic effect is only available when you have THC. THC is one of 118 phytocannabinoids, and its purpose is to interact with the phytocannabinoid CBD and CBG and CBN and all these things to help it enter your body more effectively, and then also balance out the effects of the other parts of the plant as well. So our product only contains a very small trace amount of THC, which is necessary for it to work. And so these other companies that are saying 0 THC, all of this stuff, that should not be something they're proud of. That's something that means your product is not going to work.
Yeah.
So, exactly. You
Good
know,
point.
that all started with the brainwashing from reefer madness. And I don't know if in your research you ran across the point that cannabis is a biological term for the plant, regardless of whether it has THC in it or not.
Right.
But because they demonized THC to the extent that they did, scared everybody about it,
Yep.
and then they came up with the terminology, the term marijuana, which wasn't
Mhm.
even ever used before. They used that term to be able to do the legal
Right.
crap that they've done. Excuse the expression, but that's basically what it is. Because they took away a very healing and healthy plant, not only for our health, but for the planet as well. I mean,
Right.
you can make paper with hemp.
You can make
Um,
houses with
you can
hemp.
make, yeah, the hempcrete, all of that, and
Well,
and, and
and
they
it detoxifies the soil that it's planted in. You can plant it in
Yeah.
areas that are super
radiation,
toxic.
yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
and it
Chernobyl. What did they
detoxifies.
plant around Chernobyl? They
Yeah.
planted hemp plants. So we have been so brainwashed and lied to about everything that it's actually hurt our health and well-being in many ways.
And the planet, but
In the
in
planet,
that regard
exactly.
too, yeah.
Cut trees
I mean,
down with this grows in 90 days.
Right.
Go
well,
ahead.
The hemp grows in 90 days, whereas trees we plant and they take,
30
years.
years. Yes.
yes,
Exactly.
and the Constitution was written on hemp.
Woo!
Oh, all right.
You know what? I want to put the frosting on the cake really quick. I want to give a little bit of kind of not necessarily numbers, but factual science. If you take a pharmaceutical drug, not every single compound is equal. They don't stick like, 5% of every one of them. They have all different formulas. Okay. Mother Nature is like that too. Okay. And so saying that THC in our hemp paste is a fraction. And just because it's a fraction doesn't mean it's effective or non-effective. It just, well, that's kind of contradicting, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
The fact is that it's a fraction and it's so effective as a fraction,
Right.
and because it's a fraction, it's non-hallucinogenic. So that right there tells you that why are we messing around with Mother Nature or God's plan? It's perfect in its natural state.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I know this product does not contain the THC other than a small amount in order to provide that entourage effect. But I'd like to make this point as well, and
Yes.
just to elaborate on how much they have interfered with things that would actually help us. THC actually kills cancer cells too.
Right.
Yes, it's non-proliferative, stops bad cell growth. Yes. And it's
Exactly.
anti-inflammatory, which is a teeter-totter with people with cancer or any illness. So if you decrease inflammation, you decrease a whole array of problems. It's amazing.
Right.
Yep.
Yes, and any green plant, regardless of which one it might be, will contribute to an alkalizing effect as well.
Yeah.
And we do not get sick anywhere near as readily when we're more alkaline rather than more acidic. And most of us,
Yeah.
because of the way we eat and what we're exposed to, are acidic. And
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Our pH levels are acidic. Yep.
so
Because
that's a
everything we
problem.
eat. Yep, it is. Hey, I'm going to kind of make a point here.
Go for it.
The people that are listening and all of us here today, we know it's $1 billion business. Why? Because it works. People know that. So the people that are listening right now, it works. This is what I have learned over this almost 10 years. I've learned that about 80% of the time, it greatly helps people. The 20% of the people that it doesn't, it does an underlying help. It's not like noticeable. Okay, so again, it's $1 billion industry, so we can all agree today that it's got to be doing something amazing. So let's move into a different topic, and that is my favorite topic, and that is I sent Gail this document, and she knows all about it anyways. But it basically, this document is like the holy grail. And if anybody wants that document, you can get it on Gail of Gaia Hemppaste.com. Gail is an awesome distributor, and she's on fire. And so, Gail, would you like to kind of like take that over about that? They can access stuff from through you.
Oh, yes, I have. In fact, I can put the link right up on the screen right now. If you give me a second, I'll do that.
While she's doing that, this document, we list all the things that, like, just one of these is like a game changer. Every one of these. And I'll name just one of the game changers. I kind of jump all around. But here's one game changer. The hemp industry grows the hemp out, the farmer grows the hemp out in the farm, say 70 acres. They take that 70 acres and then they have the state comes in and says, we're going to test it. That's part of the protocol. They test it. They say, okay, you're safe. You're just barely over the 0.3 THC. If you go any more on that, we're going to burn it down, take it away from you. It's a sad story, but it happens all the time. So what's really cool about hemp paste is that these farmers, they have that 70 acres, they have to harvest it all quickly before it goes hot. They got to put it into a barn. Can you imagine shoving 70 acres into a barn? It's ludicrous. And there's so much hemp that's left in the field to rot. Okay, so none of this happens with us but let me go back to it. So they take that and they dry it, and they have all these dehumidifiers, all this energy. And if they really want to go crazy, they take all the hemp. They have these companies that come there and they dry this hemp in these big dryers, and all the trichomes fall up, and it all so much damage, and all the terpenes are destroyed, and it's just expensive, damaging. That's before it's even extracted. Okay, so watch this. So what we can do is, by the way, there's companies out there who spent millions of dollars and so much energy to try to figure out how can they pull the oil out of fresh plant. They can't do it. It's impossible. Well, even if it was possible and somebody figures that out, there's so much cost, and it's like chasing your tail. It's another rabbit hole. Okay, so take a look at that. Remember that. What we do is you can take the hemp, chop it down fresh, smells so good, it's beautiful, it's got all the terpenes, it's so fresh. We can take that, cut it down, and can it fresh, right from the plant straight to the jar. What happens is, one, we have no environmental footprint. We do not use chemicals, machines. We do not have all these dryers and we don't have any mold. We can't. I could go on a list of so many things. Look at that document, and you will see. It's just like, I know I sound a little obnoxious saying this, but anybody with a brain will say, "Why in the world did we extract this plant? It's perfect." And so again, look at that document. I think everybody who reads that is going to go, why isn't hemp paste number one in the world? And so that's what we're doing today. We're going to try to share this word. Thank you to Gail. But we're going to try to spread the news to tell everybody, hey, if you're an environmentalist, you need to take hemp paste, because if you do, you're not contributing to the negative, And so there's just all these different, hey, you're on a budget. It's so much cheaper. We don't have all this expense. So we're able to sell it for half of the market price. In fact, we run sales at half of the market price. So there's just all these different things. No environmental footprint, no waste. It works better. They're full entourage effect because it's not been damaged. Everything is there. The complete genetic code's there. So like I said, I can go real crazy on this because there's so much cool information about this. But anyways, take it away, you guys.
Okay, I thought of something while you were talking earlier to mention to see the difference between things, and that is that when you're combining foods, for example, you want beans and rice. The reason you want beans and rice together is because some of the amino acids in the beans are missing that the rice has. So you get a complete profile of the essential, what they call the essential amino acids, in order to be able, so your body can make protein. Well, you have a very similar thing going on here with a plant when you try to extract something from it or what have you. It doesn't have the full complement of what it should. The other thing that I can't help to bring out about the hemp plant itself is that I have never seen any plant which is nutritious as this plant is from a strictly nutrient standpoint. It has all the amino acids, it has all the essential fatty acids, it has vitamins, it has minerals. If it's grown in good soil, it has even more. So and you keep the plant whole, and as a nutritionist, that is definitely gonna ring true in what I would recommend to anybody.
Right.
Because whole plant is always better. Whole food is always better.
Right.
Sometimes you might
go ahead.
need a concentrated dose of something, but that's usually that's an extreme thing. The other thing that I might like to mention or bring up, and maybe you can address this more, Sheila, and we can talk about the endocannabanoid system.
Oh yes, my favorite topic.
Yes, I like that one too.
I do love it.
I want to say one thing first. We have receptor sites for cannabinoids. If we didn't need them, why would we have them?
Exactly.
Take it away.
Exactly. Well, it's a relatively new discovery, even though it's been around, probably forever. But in the early 1990s, that's when the endocannabanoid system was discovered officially, and it started research then. So we've had a little, like almost 30 years of research and scientific studies done on the endocannabinoid system. And in that time, of course, new things arise all the time. So it's still in science. It's still a very new system of the body. There's much to be explored. But in those 30 years that we have been studying it, there's been so many really amazing findings that it affects your neurological system, your central nervous system. It affects your parasympathetic nervous system. And it basically, one of the reasons why everyone says, oh, well, it helps me with migraines, it helps me with my toe pain, it helps me with my digestive system. And your logical brain says, well, how can one thing help with all of those things? Like
snake oil.
What?
Snake oil.
Yeah, snake oil. That's why a lot of people get very apprehensive and they're like, oh, this can't be real life. And it's because they don't fully understand the endocannabinoid system and where those CB1 and CB2 receptors are, which help regulate throughout your whole body. So I actually have a picture. Can I share my screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, let me make sure I'm on the right one. Here we go. Okay. I've never shared my screen with the system before, so
there's a little thing down there where it says share screen.
Did I get it? Do you see it?
No, not yet.
No, I'm not seeing it.
You don't. It says you are sharing.
Wait a minute. Let me
another application window.
Okay, maybe I have to say share. Open system preferences. Would like to record this.
While they're doing that, I'm going to say something while they figure that out. So what happens is, a lot of people think, like Gail and all of us do, it's very important. A point is that nutrition, the whole plant. But what happens is when you pull out certain compounds out of the plant, again, it's a neurological thing. It's a neurological regulator. So every single compound has a purpose. It's not just also more nutritional, but it has a purpose in the neurological regulators and all the anti-inflammatory and all these different things. Did you guys get it?
Right.
I don't know why I can't. Guest can add channels to stream. I don't know why I can't.
I see it. I
don't know what's happening. Pardon?
Oh,
you could send it to me. Yeah, that would work. Did you read that?
Yeah, I did. I can do that.
Okay, let me see if I can do it then. This is new to me too. I've only been using this system for maybe a month or so. And I had quite a time when I had like 4 people on here and I was trying to keep the right.
Do you want me to send it to your email, Gail?
You could just put it in the text in the chat there, right? And
I can. Oh, I can.
Is there a paper clip attachment?
Otherwise, if you can't, I guess you can send it to my mail, and I'll see if I can do it. If I can't, we can.
Well, the graphic I was going to show, I can just describe it really quick.
Okay.
It's a photo of the
Sorry
body,
about
and
that.
everyone listening can go on Google and type in endocannabanoid system, and you can see there's a lot of visual graphics that show you exactly where the receptors are on your body, and how it affects so drastically all of your systems. So the photo that I'm talking about shows that it helps with your brain. It's an or your endocannabinoid system is in charge of, or I guess the hemp in regards to your endocannabinoid system can help with depression. It's an antioxidant. It gives you antipsychotic. Sorry, I can't read. And neuroprotective. It protects your brain cells, which is why it works to help Alzheimer's and dementia, which evidently I need to take more of because I can't think.
Stress does that when you're feeling like you're on the spot. Yeah. So you're fine. You're doing good.
And then it also helps your eyes, your heart, your stomach, your intestines, your bones. It also helps with hormone regulation. Relationships.
Of course, because you got to think my wife says I'm way sweeter to her when I'm on Hemppaste. So that right there, oh, hey, men out there or wives, make sure you give it to your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, or husband. It really makes them a lot sweeter.
I sent you that graphic, Gail, and I'm going to send you another one really quick as well. I have another graphic that breaks down what each specific cannabinoid can help with, and it's just the 6 major phytocannabinoids. There are a ton of more minor cannabinoids, but where did it go? Come back.
It's not giving me a link, so let me.
Why
see
are they doing that? Oh, keep talking, you guys. But
yeah, please do.
Sorry, okay. One other thing too for the listener, there was GW Pharmaceuticals. There was a guy that contacted me about 5 years ago, and he no longer works for them. So I can kind of point at them. They can't fire him anymore. But he told me that when they were creating Marinol and all those different things and trying to copy the my brain just went blank. CBD. There's
that stuff made people sick, Brad.
Yeah, yes. Marinol did, but there was a CBD version, which I can't believe I just forgot what it was called. Anyways, they said, the guy told me on the phone, he said, every time, wait, let me back up. They discovered cannabinoid C-17 or 15. I can't remember which one it was, but that's what they called it. And and then he told me about this, and about a year later, it was like I woke up out of my bed going, light bulbs went off. I'm like, he said it evaporates, and I'm thinking, okay, so that right now, no matter what extraction method you do, it evaporates. So that's a missing link in the complete genetic code of the way that God or Mother Nature created it, and so and that's that. Who knows how that affects the endocannabinoid system. It just was another thought.
Okay, I'd just like to point out to people that Christine put the link for what you were talking about in the chat, so people can see. I'm gonna see if I can open it, but I'm not sure how that works on here. Huh. Oh, there it is. There you have the link. For one thing,
at the top of the chat too, yeah.
Okay,
but that just shows the
where the receptor sites are.
Yeah, the receptor sites. Thank you. And then the next thing is to incorporate what we've already been talking about in that knowledge of what the endocannabinoid system is. So if we're talking about all these 500 plus compounds that are in the hemp plant, how do those react to your body? We have these receptors. We understand that it's important to keep them all together. Now what? And so that goes into kind of our dosing side of things and how everybody's body is different. So with taking a product like Hemppaste, we take it sublingually most of the time, but we also offer products that are We have hemp chocolate. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I took a little square of hemp chocolate before we started. We have hemp coffee, hemp cocoa, and the SOS meal replacement shake that has hemp in it as well. And then we're not like all the other companies that we're going to come out with all these, everything is with hemp, because it's not necessary. But we
Yeah.
do want to educate people of the other things that they can incorporate into their system, their nutrition.
Well,
Yeah.
I think many people are CBD deficient. I
Yeah,
really do.
and
There
you
was
can
a
get it in
time.
different
Yes.
ways.
Yes.
There
There
was a
was a
time.
time, I believe, because they took cannabis, hemp totally off the market. I mean, animals used to graze on it. So if you had, you drank milk or you ate the meat or whatever, it was available to you. But it's no
Right.
longer, when they cut that all off, it was no longer available to you, making you literally CBD deficient. And we don't know exactly what the ramifications of that would be.
Well, you can guess based on what we just talked about,
Yeah.
knowing that the cannabinoids, they affect, I had my other graphic pulled up too. CBD is a pain reliever. It increases your appetite. It relieves spasms. It's an antioxidant, causes drowsiness, muscle relaxant, reduces anxiety, decreases seizures. CBG lowers your blood pressure. It's a antiviral. It helps stimulate bones. You know, all these anti-inflammatory process.
Doesn't it help with a cytokine storm as well?
It does. CBGA and CBDA help with the prevention of the cytokine storm, and then the whole plant helps calm the cytokine storm, so your body doesn't go into overdrive and have those negative effects. Brad, I'm sure you have more to say about that.
Oh, well, guess what? I can't say certain words because it flags YouTube and different stuff. So I'm going to use different words so the listener, you can decode this. Okay. This is going to be kind of a funny statement I'm going to make. Sheila, will you brag about me?
What
So,
in what regard?
I'm being funny, listeners. No, tell them about the article. I'm being funny. Anyways,
Oh yeah. So Brad, back in
Ding, ding,
2014.
ding.
Can I say that one, Brad? Do you think?
say what?
Can I say that virus name? Can I say virus?
No, don't say the virus.
Of any kind.
Any kind.
The bug, call it a bug.
The bug that
yes.
hit not really the world. It's a very deadly bug.
Was it the pig bug?
Back in 2014, Brad wrote an article about the cytokine storm and how hemp affects the cytokine storm. The cytokine storm is a natural process that your body goes through, cytokines are produced by your body naturally. But the storm happens when it goes into overdrive. And Brad wrote an article. He was one of the first ever to relate hemp to the cytokine storm. And that article is available everywhere. But it was in 2014. So remember, it's not the one it's not the bug we're talking about currently. It does relate.
It relates greatly because the cytokine storm relates to 3 of the major bugs. Okay. Right. And that's what the news is all about right now. Everybody's talking about it. So what's cool. So thank you, Sheila, for doing that.
You're welcome.
I hate going, I published, but it just sounds,
But it's cool that it relates, and it's another like nail in the coffin of why hemp paste works.
Yes, exactly. So, Yep.
It's an excellent product, and it is great stuff. And I don't know of any, like you said, I don't know of anyone else in the world, for that matter, that makes a similar product. One thing that we didn't mention, you have your hemp, when you mix it, you add a
carrier.
A carrier, exactly, and that will cross the blood-brain barrier. Isn't
that
correct?
It's necessary so that it will cross the blood-brain barrier.
Very important. And that's your MCT?
Yeah, oil? MCT of soy-free. MCT, we have kosher. And so the 3 ingredients basically is the flour, MCT oil, and kosher vegetable glycerin. So those three together with a magical cooking and temperatures and all that keeps all the terpenes and everything intact. And we do not decarboxylate. Anybody who doesn't know that, that's basically forgive me using for the marijuana thing. It's easy for people to understand this.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, it is. It is. I just like people to know.
example.
Yeah.
So example, if you or I eat marijuana, it will do nothing to us except for a nutritional and it's actually healthy, but it doesn't have any psychoactive effect because it's called carbolic acid, THCA, CBDA. A is the carbolic acid. Heat, raw is A, heat it, the A disappears. And so what happens is, believe it or not, there's an entourage effect with the A, the carbolic acid. And that's, the term is decarboxylate. What we do is we do not cook it to death. We only cook it 63%. We leave the remaining, what's 63 minus 100? My brain is not enough Hemppaste today. Anyways, anyways, that remaining percentage is raw. And what that does is it has an entourage effect with the decarboxylated THC or CBD or CBN, CBG, blah, 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 118 different ones. So that's what's really cool about not overcooking it.
I wonder if I can get the link and we can share it for the most recent research that some scientists in Oregon found why
yes. Well, send it to me. Send it to me and I will share it. I just I'll have to download it and then share it on my screen. So
okay, yeah, and this one,
and I'll do that. And you guys talk while I'm doing that.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to do both of them at the same time. I think there is there might be some other issues that we haven't covered yet that we could bring up while you guys.
So
I want to tell a story. I want to tell a story that I'll probably cry. I don't want to, but this one is.
That's okay. That means you're a caring, sensitive individual. So
there are hundreds of stories of people flying on jets, coming to visit us, all kinds of stuff, Mormons, you name it, every walk of life. But there was this one guy, his name's Frank, and he lives in, I think, Michigan. It's been a while. It's been almost 6 years since this happened. But while you're looking for that document, Gail. Okay. So Frank, what happened was he has Parkinson's really bad. And what happened was he used to he's a really I love people kind of guy. And so I get emotional because I spent a lot of time with this guy on the phone over the years. Anyway, so Frank, what happened was he would drag his foot really bad everywhere. And he had caused so much neurological damage to his foot. And people, he said Frank was crying on the phone. He goes, everybody thinks I'm a freak. You know, they all stare at me when I go places and I just want to talk to people. I just want to be everybody's friend. I just want to be with people. And everybody just looks at me like I'm some kind of freak because I'm always going like this. Anyways, and so what happened with him is I gave him, this was back before our CBD was stronger. I gave him the sour tsunami version, which was 60%, sorry, I get hold of myself, 60% THC and about 30%, 40%, 60-40. It wasn't quite CBD. Anyways, what happened was it helped him so much that he could walk in public without looking like a freak.
Wow. Yeah. I've heard that one before, Brad.
Oh yeah, there's so many of them. I got
you have many stories. I've heard a lot of them, but that's a new one for me.
Yeah, and what was crazy about this story too, I mean, he's crying on the phone saying, Brad, I love you. And I said, it's not me. We're just messengers. We're just It's just a plan.
We give you the tools. Yeah.
Exactly.
But and we have a lot of stories like that too. I'm sorry, Brad, go ahead.
Oh, just to end the story, he said, Brad, I have to have one big major complaint though. He says, and this is really weird, and I don't know if it's from your stuff or not, but what's going on is my foot hurts like a mother because what was happening is he couldn't feel it. He lost so much. It was so much nerve damage. And then what happened was he was saying on the phone that, I'm starting to feel my foot again, but it hurts because he had banged it around, hit it on everything, dragged it everywhere.
Oh,
And so it was
Oh,
really it was
wow.
fascinating to me because I started really thinking, is this stuff regenerative, or what's that word? You know?
Yes,
close enough. Yeah.
it is regenerative.
Yeah.
It's neuro regenerative.
Yeah.
And the person out there that buys a jar of it and it helps them, hey, just thank God, thank the people around you. But the person that it doesn't help, I want to say this to you. I said it is building your immune system. It does help you. And it does, there's a method that you have to learn about dosing. And Sheila is the dosing queen. And we also have a video on it.
We do.
Dosage is a very key thing on very many reasons. Like, for example, do you see, sorry, how much time do we have?
We're fine. We're fine.
Okay,
Don't worry
real
about
fast.
it.
So
Yeah.
let me show this to you. There's a little happy Hemppaste guy. We got shirts, all kinds of stuff. I took about 6 scoops of hemp paste and I got really inspired. I wasn't buzzing, but it stimulates your neurological system, your CB1 receptors, etc. And I came up with the video Happy Hemp Paste, and I came up with Happy, and uh, he's the world's only 3D animated 3D character, period. And so what's the point? The point is there are different dosages for different things. One for sleep. How much do you take? Sheila will get over that. Explain that. There is creativity. There's stress. There's healing. There's all different kinds of factors. And so not every day your dosage should be the same every day, because every day you're not the same.
Right.
So you're going to want to kind of figure out, what do I need, what dosage for this situation. Go ahead, guys. Thanks.
Well, one of the things that I'd like to point out about the neurogenesis is what hemp appears to do is find pathways around wherever the problem was.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's my
Yes.
I don't know if I read it or I'm interpreting where it's coming from. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's what I understand that happens. For example, I have a friend who has a shaky hand. And my father, before he passed, had a touch of Parkinson's. And
Are you showing us your shaky
yes,
hand, Brad?
Keep going. Keep going. Yes. I shake. Keep going. So.
well, that can come from just being nervous, but if it's all the time,
Yeah.
it indicates that there's some kind of nerve damage somewhere, which tells me that you have a very good chance of improving that substantially through the use of hemp paste.
Yep.
Because of its very nature in what it does. It will find another route around the damaged nerve and create a new one, or it repairs the old one. I'm not sure which
Right.
it is, but they're still studying it. When they made it illegal, they couldn't even study it in the United States.
Right.
Yep.
There's evidence of it though everywhere. That's why I love our testimonial pages, which I can also share with you guys really quick. But we have wonderful customers who share in detail their stories with people. And one of the pleasures of great pleasures of my jobs, one of the things I'm most thankful for about this job is that I get to answer the phone and people just pour their life out to me. And there's this one customer that we had that was suffering from a gunshot wound to his shoulder, and he had zero feeling, or zero movement, I should say, immense pain. And he found our product through somebody else and said, maybe you should try this. And a wound that, like his, should take up to 2 years to even gain mobility at all. And within 6 months, he's moving his arm almost like normal, not 100%. His pain has decreased dramatically. He's been able to just go back to life, and he's just so thankful for it. And so that's an example of the regenerative I can't say that word either.
Yeah.
It is a tongue twister.
That's a hard one. But then there's also stuff like we're seeing on the screen now where it helps with sleep. And sleep, as we should all recognize, is imperative to healing. Our bodies do so much work during sleep. So if you're suffering from restless sleep, Hemppaste can definitely help. We actually have a sleep specific product called Canna Sleep, where we add some more CBN, which is the cannabinoid most well known to help aid in sleep and restful sleep. A lot of people say that even if they wake up during the middle of the night, they're able to go back to sleep very quickly. And then when they wake up in the morning, they feel very rested. And so there's story after story of neck pain relief, anxiety, depression relief. There's this really touching story of this little teenage girl, which I think it's on there, so I'm going to say it. But her mom was desperate because she went from this happy-go-lucky girl to something changing. Her brain chemistry changed for some reason, and she went suicidal without any outside circumstances changing in her life. And her mom was desperate to find a solution. She was trying all sorts of things, and she came across Hemppaste, and they had been putting her on antidepressants after antidepressant, after all these things in the pharmaceutical world. And her mom's like, none of this is helping. My little girl is going to kill herself. What do I do? And she reached out to us and was like, do you think this would help? And I was like, do you have anything to lose? It does. I mean, there's
exactly.
showing that it does help with depression and anxiety, but I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not going to tell you, take your daughter off of all this other stuff, So she did. She took the liberty of knowing what was best for her daughter, and she took her daughter slowly off of antidepressants and replaced it with Hemppaste. And within 7 days, her daughter was back to her normal, happy-go-lucky self and non-suicidal anymore. All of the things were completely drastically changed. And so there's stories like that it makes it hard to not be a believer in it.
Well, what's fascinating about that very topic that you just explained is that if you look into the side effects of most of the so-called antidepressants, one of the side effects is that it could cause suicidal thoughts, or that it could cause depression and anxiety and so on. And so I'm going, oh my God, what
are we putting in our bodies? Yeah,
exactly. And here's another point, and I found this out the hard way myself because I didn't do enough research. This was many years ago, but I did take Prozac for a while after I found out that it has fluorine, which is part of fluoride on two ends of the molecule, on two ends. So basically what they're doing is they're tranquilizing you with a known neurotoxin and poison.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't at the time either.
Wow.
So yes, there's wonderful testimonials here. Here's something,
and they're long. They're good reading. You're gonna need your tissues because there's some that are just so heart-wrenching, but also so wonderful to know that these people are finding relief in something. And our goal too is not to just, like I said in the beginning, we're not here to be billionaires. We really just want to help people. So this whole page, like every time I read it, I'm tearing up now because it's just going to show that our efforts aren't wasted, but also it's not just us. It's everything that Gail's talking about too. What's important with your nutrition, just being educated yourself, what you're putting in your body altogether. And Hemppaste is, like Brad said, is probably not the answer for 100% of the people, but for 80%, 85%, it will help you symptomatically. And then of course for 100% of the people it does help. But do we want to go into dosing on that line of thinking too, or no?
Yeah, you might as well. This is educational. I know that is there another word we could use besides that word?
Yeah. Well, just how to take it. So
let's call it that.
Yeah.
Just to be on the safe side. Okay.
Brad, you're frozen.
There, he came back. You froze for a minute there, Brad. Okay. Did you have something to say?
I had one quick thing. And I forgot what it was. Go ahead, Sheila. What was the
Oh,
topic?
shoot.
No, what was the
It'll come
topic?
back to you.
Right,
We were
that
talking
we,
about testimonials beforehand. Putting
yeah,
things in your body, knowing what education, nutrition.
yes. Oh, I
Yes.
remember. Here's something that has nothing
Thank
to
you,
do with
Sheila.
hemp-based, but thank you. This has nothing to do with hemp-based, but I want to share something. There was this girl, I can't remember her name. She's a waitress in Woodland Park. Anyways, she came into our store that we had in Woodland Park, Colorado. And she said that she spent years trying to find out all these tests, everything. And what happened was,
It's a funny
this is
story.
hilarious. I handed her a bottle of vitamins for free. Woman's, it's called Eve. And we don't sell it, so I'm not trying to sell it to you. But I handed her a bottle of vitamins. And because she's so deficient in the way she absorbs nutrients, it solved her problem. It fixed her. It after all, she came back to me and says, "This is crazy, stupid vitamins," you know. And I just want to say, everybody is listening. I've seen in 10 years so much information from nutraceutical, naturopathic doctors, oh, you name it. Call me because I'm the creator of Hemppaste, and they call me and they tell me everything. Like Sheila, Sheila listens to this all day long on the phone. Trust me, people, we hear so many stories. Nutrition is key. Okay.
Yeah.
What happens is when you have fulvic acid, not folic, fulvic acid, and stuff like that, and you start adding these different things with hemp paste, different things, they really stack up, and you can beat so many diseases by fix the original problem. Why did you get cancer? And then stack up all these other things that kind of, it's like a teeter-totter. It keeps helping. Anyways, go ahead.
Very true. And thank you for that plug in nutrition, because it's been the bane of my career in so many ways, because it was always, I'm out of it, I'm not really practicing in it right now, but I didn't forget everything that I learned or anything, but it was always downplayed.
Right.
Yeah.
By the doctors, always downplayed, never
Yep.
that, no big. And I fought like the Dickens trying to get people not to pay attention to GMOs, because they're not good for you,
Right.
that type of thing. And it's really hard, and the American public in general never eats enough fruits and vegetables. They're not even close. And then if you talk about vegetarianism, you'll get a carnivore and they will jump out of the screen at you and like you're insulting them, which
Yeah.
never ceases to amaze me. I guess you
No
got
matter your
triggered.
opinion. Yeah, no matter your opinion, you're gonna have people who are going against it.
Yeah, exactly. Can't please all the people all the time. You just
Yeah.
hope to please some of the people some of the time with good information, and they are actually willing to listen.
Yeah.
It's a
And
choice.
it
It's a
is.
choice.
It
Keep
is a
going.
choice. And that's where self-responsibility comes in too.
Yes.
Because it is so easy for us to, just rely on somebody else to tell me what I need to do, when in fact nobody knows you and your body better than you do.
100%.
And other people can advise you or give you tools to use to try, but it's up to you
Right.
to really take the information in, experiment with it yourself, give it a fair chance, because that's the other thing. Not everybody has immediate results like that. That doesn't
Right.
always happen. It takes your body a while to assimilate everything and to fill those cannabinoid receptors, which have probably gone empty for a long time. And so there's a number. I usually say 3 months is
Oh,
a fair
really?
trial. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's
3
why I want
months.
to talk about how to take it so much, is because
Yes.
people do not understand what you just said. Brad calls it the X factor, the amount of inflammation you have versus the amount of phytocannabinoids you have in your system. I'm trying to get on the screen. The longer you take
90 days.
It's
paste,
going to have a cumulative effect.
you're going to have an accumulative effect of the phytocannabinoids, and your inflammation is going to go down. And people don't understand that, because we're in such a time that it's quick fixes. You need immediate results on everything.
Give me a pill so I don't have to do anything myself.
Exactly. And we're not taking responsibility for our bodies, like you were saying. And so the people who have tried products like ours in the past or other products and didn't find a result in 30 minutes, 5 days, 10 days, whatever, and they stop saying, oh, well, that just wasn't for me. I'm not going to waste my money on it. What they don't understand is the science behind it. Like what you were saying, it needs to have time to accumulate in your body, get you back up to zero, and then plus some, and really start to work on that ailment, especially if your ailment is hard, like cancer, like other really degenerative,
any chronic degenerative diseases. Yes.
That's not going to go away overnight. And people just expect results. So
instant results.
Yeah.
And they've come to rely on that, just like they've come to rely on white coats in a way that is not in their best interest, because they need to do, our body heals itself. Right. You don't heal the body. Brad don't heal the body. Yep. You heal your body yourself with what you do and what you put in that body. We can give you the tools. We can give you the things that we know the body needs, but you have to take them.
Right. And it is trial and error, but it takes consistency. It takes time. It takes the right amount too. A lot of people, back to the THC conversation, a lot of people are scared to get high. So I don't want to take this product that contains THC. I want to take this CBD oil isolate. So I know I won't
be bad for your liver. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we keep going back to that. The whole plant is better because, you need to not be scared of it.
Your body recognizes the natural genetic code of the plants put on the earth, because Mother Gaia or Mother Earth, however you want to put it, knew what she was doing.
Right. Exactly.
Or he was doing whatever you want, whatever your beliefs are. I'm not trying to, knock anybody's belief system. That's also your responsibility.
Right. Well, and so that's why I urge, sorry, Brad, just a second. I urge you, like, this is a sign. If you've tried Hemppaste in the past and you gave up on it too quickly, or you only tried it once and you gave up on it too quickly, try it again and try a higher dosage. Increase your dosing amount.
Yes.
Or the amount you're taking, by a little bit more every day, and see how it affects you. Keep a journal if it's really
that's a great idea.
And say, because a lot of people, I have one of my standard stories because it just blows my mind. One of my best friends was suffering from chronic migraines every single day. She's a mom of 2. One of her kids is severely disabled, and it takes a lot of work to take care of her. And so it really weighs on my friend, and she gets these really bad neck spasms that turn into really debilitating migraines. Yeah. She was having them every single day. She, at the point where I interacted with her, she couldn't remember a day she didn't have them. And of course, that affects, you don't get used to that, you do a little bit. You forget how bad it hurts until you realize how good it feels to not have migraines. But it was affecting her marriage. It was affecting the way she could take care of her kids. It was affecting her work life, her school life. All these things that were really good in her life were going downhill because she was in chronic pain. And so I was like, hey, I don't know if it's going to help you, but could you just try it? Try it for 10 days. And when she did, I caught her on day 8, and I said, hey, you haven't talked about it for a while, because we do video chats every single day, and some days are better than others. But she in the 10 days that she was taking it, on day 8, I noticed for 8 days she hadn't complained of a migraine once. She hadn't complained of any pain or her mood was brighter, all these things. And I didn't mention it to her any other days because I was like, not going to poke the bear, just going to see how it's going to go. And I mentioned it to her. I said, hey, how are you feeling on day 8? And she just stepped back and she's like, oh my gosh, I don't have a migraine. Come to think of it, I don't think I've had a migraine in a week. And I was like, yeah. So it just goes to show that keeping a record of how you're feeling and then staying consistent with whatever protocol you have in place, and then keeping track, maybe not every day, but every other day or whatever, like really be self-aware, because you're in charge of your own body. You're in charge of how you feel. So being aware of that and having a written down record of that can be super helpful to understand.
Extremely helpful. That, I'm glad you brought that up, Sheila, because that's an extremely important point. That's one of the things that when I did practice as a nutritionist, which I'm considering going back into to some degree anyway, maybe with videos. But anyway, is that would always have people, I need a record of what you eat without changing any of your eating habits. I need to know where you're at. And I know that your weekends are probably different than your weekdays. If I can, I need at least 3 days, preferably a week would be even better, with some days on the weekend and some days during the week, so I can see where I would think that the problems lie.
Right.
And so the same exact thing you can do when you're using a product like this. You record how much of it you took and how you feel, and then you keep going and
Good point.
Yeah.
and take it from there. Let me see if I can put this up.
While you're doing that, I had a lady. This is a crazy story. So this lady calls me up and she goes, I don't know what's wrong with me. It's just I'm sick all the time. And my friend said, take Hemppaste. Anyway, so she's really didn't have any money. And so we gave her a really great coupon and gave her a major discount. She got the product, she took it, and she said, I hate this stuff. It's making me feel really, really sick. Okay, and this is on the phone, and you're like, what kind of testimony is this? But just wait and listen to this story. This is crazy. So she said that it was making her feel really sick, and are you ready for this? Because I worked with a huge Lyme disease community for years, I diagnosed her with Lyme disease, because what happened to her is she took the hemp paste, and I told her to do the experiment, do 1 scoop day 1, two scoops day 2, 3 scoops day 3, blah, 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 blah. You get it. And she started going up that ladder. And when she started taking that amount of money, that amount of dosage, money, exactly, it is about money, unfortunately, too. What happened with her is it started killing the Lyme and started making her really sick. So there are, it's called a Herxheimer.
Yes.
And so the people who are listening to this, there's so many different things that you've got to look out with. And so drinking a lot of water is key. Remember that in anything that you do. Anyways, go ahead. You were about to say
one thing
pure water, I might add.
Yeah, no, go ahead. One thing we want to be careful with the Lyme disease thing too is that it is very helpful to work with a naturopathic doctor.
Yes.
Like, don't just go all out and take a bunch of hemp paste because it helps detox from that, and it helps with all these other things that will get rid of the Lyme disease. But you have to be careful in how you do it, and it sometimes does take a naturopathic doctor to help you walk through that and what other supplements you can pair with hemp paste to ease the burden.
Yes, and I would encourage people to look up the Herxheimer reaction and realize that if you're toxic, if you haven't been doing any detoxing at all in your life, you're going to need to go slow.
Yes.
Because what happens is, as some of those substances, toxins are released into your bloodstream, it's going to make you feel sick. And some things like fungus or mold or anything like that, and believe it or not, we do have that in our body too. You start killing them off, they put off a poison or toxin when they die. Yeah. And that'll make you feel sick. So it's important that you, if you like I said, if you haven't detoxed before, because I've been detoxing for many years now, almost on a daily basis. I used to tell people that we're exposed to so much on a daily basis, what we eat, what we drink, what's in the air, what we think. All these things affect us.
Yeah.
And so keeping journals can be extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Because you can look back and you can say, oh my gosh, that's when this happened, or that's what was going on then, and this is how I'm feeling now, that kind of thing. So it's a very, very, very helpful tool.
That is so cool. Yes, good point. And just a little clarification. I do not diagnose anybody on anything. It was just that I was able to quickly pinpoint because that's not my job to diagnose. No way. But it was just crazy because Lyme disease people. It's a sign, and I say to the Lyme people, if this works for you, and you take a bunch of Hempaste and you have a Herxheimer, throw a party. Say, is that all you got? You know, bring it on. Bring it on.
I'm getting rid of you.
Oh yeah, come on, I don't care if I feel like I'm dying. I know it's killing the Lyme disease. So, but anyways, it's. I've had all kinds of Lyme stories for the year.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's a big problem, and my mother had that issue too, and it affected her tremendously, and unfortunately, she has passed on since then. But the other thing I'd like to mention, so don't feel too bad, I have a medical disclaimer at the end of the show. So we're not here to diagnose, treat, or any of that. We're just providing information about a product that can improve things for you in your health.
That's cool. I just thought of something funny. I just thought of something funny because I saw somebody said it was for entertainment purpose. Well, how about this? Why don't you entertain yourself and try some of these things and see if it works?
Yeah. What
exactly. And you know, there's a reason why people put that up for entertainment purposes, because if you say that it's for education or you say that it's information and you don't say it exactly right, then they'll be on you and they'll take you out for violating their community standards or whatever kind of free speech denial that they can come up with.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm a critical thinker and I will figure it out myself. And most people need to do that. I mean, I'm more than happy to listen to what people have to say, but then I take it into my heart and I evaluate it that way and try to act accordingly. And I can say, just from having you on and being with you, I know you guys, you're good people, and this is a family business, and you're not out just to make the hard and fast buck. You have put something together that is whole food nutrition in a plant that has much healing capacity as well in a variety of areas. And you can't call it a snake oil because it's a paste.
There you go. Perfect.
That's a good one. Well, thank you so much. How long has it been?
Oh, we're about at an hour and a half. And I was just going to say, unless you have anything else to add, either one of you, do you have anything to add?
I think we've covered everything I wanted to get out there. So.
Okay, I do too. And we have on your website, and if you go to my Hemppaste, that'll take you to the website and you'll find all kinds of testimonials and all kinds of great information. One thing we didn't mention, and this is important too, these people have laboratory analysis of their products.
Yep.
Well,
that's big.
Yeah, thank you. Let me jump on that one. It's real short. What happens is a lot of people out there know that people go around, they cheat, they do all kinds of stuff with the certified organic, I'm sorry. So what we did, we just said, hey, instead of playing the organic certified game, it's kind of a crazy cycle, what we did is we just simply lab test it. And when we lab test it for everything from metals to pesticides, you name it. And so when you see NAs, it's not there. That's what you look for. Forget the organic stamp. Look at the lab test. That tells you really what's there. So,
right.
Yeah. Excellent. And that's important. And it's not GMO.
Right.
Exactly. Anyway, you get your own seed, right, from your plants. Yes.
Yeah, I was one of the first guys in that. We were crossbreeding all kinds of stuff, and these were. Oh, I got to tell you another cool thing about seeds. So back in the days in the 70s and 80s, not me, but they all talk about this. People would go to the ski resort and they drive through Colorado and they go through Kansas or wherever, and they'd see marijuana growing on the side of the road, and they go, dude, man, stop the car. And so they would pull over, they chop it down, throw it in their trunk, and they take it home and they'd smoke it. They'd smoke it and they'd get a headache because they smoked so much because they never got a buzz. Nobody knew this back then except for Steve Coates. This guy, Steve Coates, went on a tour and he collected all these seeds from all this wild marijuana growing everywhere. And that was one of the guys that I work with that was in the beginning days that got the seed, and it was called ditchweed. And
I've heard of that before.
yes, yeah, exactly. And it's so cool because we work with that genetics, and that's where we came up with a lot of good CBD. And we started, hey, we grow 10 plants, test them all. And then this one had really high CBD. We take that one and we turn it back to back to veg. And then we would crossbreed and keep doing that until that's how we got a lot of the really high CBD. And it's all ditchweed.
Oh, that's awesome. But that's wild. That's like when you want wild blueberries, you want wild this or that. And it's because it's not been compromised either with a ton of pesticides or who knows what.
Yes.
Yeah. That's excellent. That's a fascinating story too. Well, this has been wonderful. It's been very educational, and we covered a lot. And this is a great show. And thank you so much for coming on. It took a long time to get you here, but I'm so glad you came.
Thanks for having us, Gail. We're happy to do it.
Okay. Well, I think I'm about ready to call it a wrap and say bye to everyone. Thank you for listening. And be sure to the replay will be available. It's available faster on Odyssey than it is on Rumble, but it should be on YouTube, so it shouldn't really matter. So you can always see it on YouTube as well. So thank you so much. And
Gail of Gaia Hemppaste.
Yes.
The links in the chat.
The links in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
We'll talk to you
again. Guys. Goodbye,
talk to you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
We'll stand. We'll stand. We will stand. Standing tall and standing.